Hi, TJ here. Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. This is a short, quick video on one of my favorite new topics, counter manipulation. I had to pick from two different people I dealt with, and there were two, but I picked the best. I think this is the best one. So that is what you will get. And the difference here, though, is, yes, the person I was involved with did display cluster B behaviors. However, I hadn't yet reached the point of actually knowing that that's exactly what it was. Because these people can be very sneaky. You can voice your concerns that you might think they may be one of those people, and they will be quick to tell you that you were wrong. And it's sometimes comforting to hope that they're right. But in this case, of course, it wasn't right. But we're going to rewind back before that point, because counter-manipulation is counter-manipulation. And I just found this one very entertaining, and maybe it will give you some ideas, even though we don't recommend such a thing, but in some cases, it may be required. But what this revolves around is music. I'm a music person. I've always been a music person. I played drums as a kid. I fell in love with Kiss as a kid. Later played pianos and keyboards and all kinds of instruments. So I have like a special language I share with music. And it's interesting if two music-minded people get together, whether they're queer or straight or anything, doesn't matter. It's like a universal language, which I always get a kick out of enjoying conversations with. But anyway, that's beside the point, as everything. But I've always been a music person. Whether it's singing Jesus or anything, I just like every piece of it. And I met a person, actually two, but we're focusing on one. And this one particular person had stated that he just absolutely loved Christina Aguilera. He would say she's the best vocalist ever. And I would test it sometimes where I'd be in the car driving and her song would come on, and I'd say, "Who's this singing?" And the answer I would get would be, "The best singer in the world," which indicated to me that this person really liked her and loved her. However, this was put to a test, because I thought she was okay. This was many years back, but I thought she had that unique, rich sound, which I thought was nice. But at the same time, a lot of it was like commercially oriented, and I don't usually like to consume what is mass-produced on the public, but I could hear the talent. But anyway, I heard this background about her, and I happened to be doing some internet researching, and I found that, oh my goodness, she had a brand new album coming out. The person I was hanging out with a lot loved her, and I thought, well, there's not much about this person that really seems genuine that he loves, so maybe I'll check into this. Well, I looked into it, and it happened to be her album called BIONIC, which was supposed to be a departure from her usual, because normally you'd expect the same old types of songs and sexy stuff and whatever, but I read about this one, and it was very intriguing to me because, again, I've created and recorded music for years and love the idea of reinventing one's self in different ways and not necessarily changing to this or to that, but just experimenting. And when I read about that one, it said, of course, I had no idea at that time it had anything to do with transhumanism. I just thought it was a unique concept. So that's a different topic. But I just read about it, and I knew her voice. I knew how powerful and strong it was, stronger than Britney's. And when I read the information about it, it said something like she's decided to experiment with different vocal styles, which that like piqued my interest. Like, really? I mean, I liked her vocal style to begin with, but I thought maybe now she's going to be cool, like not mainstream but neat. That's the background I grew up in. I did not like the top 40 in high school. I thought, oh, everyone listens to that. This is better. And now the stuff I thought was better is like on the radio now. But anyway, but I was just interested. I thought this sounds interesting. Plus, I was dating this person who was displaying these cluster B type things, which of course I didn't know for sure at the time, but still puzzling characteristics. So I was looking for anything to try to be creative with. That's something I've always done. If I'm involved with a person, I'll look for something that we can have interest in together and like pull it in and say, hey, well, this guy was like supposedly in love with her. So I thought, well, I'm learning about it. Well, when the album came out, or was coming out, I happened to notice that there was a regular version, and then there was a deluxe version. And so I just looked into it all, and I found out that the deluxe version actually had like several bonus tracks that would not be on the regular one. And yes, I'm a kid who loves bonus tracks, remixes, 12-inch singles, if you know what that is. But I always love to have like the better version, not just the mainstream normal one, but the extended or the extra track or whatever. So I went ahead and ordered that on Amazon.com, and it came to my home. Well, it came out in the stores too, and this person went out to Walmart or someplace, and I said, you better not buy that at Walmart. They're going to make a beep, or they're going to have a silence on some of the words, which I'm not completely sure if they did or didn't, but Walmart is sick. They've got FEMA camps underneath them. But anyway, so he bought it on his own, but I felt like I had the gold. Because keep in mind, this was a pre-Cluster B potential person, and one that on many occasions I would hear him say some kind of blanket statement about reality that I could find like 1,000 Swiss cheese holes in, and I would like challenge, like, you really believe that? Well, what about this and that and this? And of course it was always empty. No type of, somebody says, oh yes, I'm always nice. And I'd say, oh really, but what about the time you egged that house and the time you killed that person and did this? And they're like, oh, you're, whatever, that's a different topic. But that's the stuff I was used to. Debate. No type of intelligent, deep conversation, because the cluster Bs are not capable of such a thing, which I was hoping it wasn't, but it was. But still, before I got to the point of knowing this, I thought I'd have some fun, because I was trying anything and everything. So I got this brilliant idea, because this person claimed to love Christina and thinks she's the best. And I was reading and thought, this sounds interesting. So I got the disc, listened to it, and I noticed very distinctly some of those extra tracks actually sounded nothing like Christina. I thought, wow, that is cool. She's really changed her style for this. So I devised a plan, because we weren't at the vindictive stage yet, because I didn't really know for sure 100% I was dealing with a complete monster. I just knew I was dealing with someone who disagreed with anything I said that had to do with anything that may contradict his fake perfection image. And I would like make really good points about like things we've talked about in other videos, when I felt like I had a valid input. I had more intelligence than this person did. I had more years of existence and life, and so I thought, this will do it. This is his favorite singer. So I devised a plan, but only after I listened. So when I listened to those bonus tracks and heard how she was actually experimenting, She wasn't doing her normal, "I am beautiful." She wasn't doing that. It was like, la la, quieter. And I thought, perfect. So I devised this plan. One particular evening, the person came over, and I had it all planned out. I knew I had to skip past the first few songs, and I went to the last few songs, and I believe the first one was called Sunday, is it something Sunday morning, or I think it was called that. And it had like a tom-tom club beat to it, and it was just, it wasn't the normal rich, thick sound. It was just something different. So when the kid came over, I said, "Hey." And yes, after seeing its antics, I could match and outdo its fake behavior. So I would be like, "Hey, I discovered this new singer. She's so good. In fact, I think she's even better than Christina." And he, of course, would be like, "I don't think anyone is better." I said, "Really? Listen." And I put it in and push play. And this is it, because if you've been abused even slightly by this kind of person, this is what I believe they go through when they scam us. But here, in this case, I was scamming him because of all the scams before, hoping I could, like, say, see how that feels? Now knock it off. But that doesn't work with these people. But I, again, was still learning. But anyway, I did it, and I played it, and this to me was like a psychological experiment, and I was like overjoyed with it. It would sound sick, but I would never have gotten the idea to do such a thing with just a regular person. Only with the person who I knew had to be something other than what they said they were, but continued to wear that ridiculous mask. So it's like when you're in the position of dealing with that, you want to grasp at any straw you can to try to like shake reality out of them, and you can't always do it. Well, you won't with the cluster B. But I found it funny because I played the first song, and he listened, and I kept like saying, "See, isn't she better? That's better than Christina, isn't it?" And I just reveled to listen to his reaction, because cluster Bs aren't very eloquent. They're not very deep in anything. So I was, if anything, just interested in hearing how, without his knowledge, that he could insult his favorite singer by being led to believe it was a different singer, and he went ahead and did it like, "Well, she sounds okay, but..." And he was trying to give some kind of fake articulation of how the voice was a little bit like the same, but not the same, and I was like, okay, I guess you maybe are retarded. But I just listened. Well, then the next song, extra bonus song, came on, and what was funny was after like the second or third bonus one, he actually, I'm surprised at this, but he actually said, "This song, if I heard this on the radio, I would actually think that was Christina." And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm losing my game. I'm losing. But finally, the next one came on, which happened to be, I guess, a song he already knew of hers. But it's like, "I know this song. She performed this live on. This is great." But that was the whole point, was to counter-manipulate, which I didn't know I was doing that then, but I didn't have a word for it. I just figured this guy knows it all. We'll see about that. I just thought it was funny because here I got him to insult his favorite singer and say that the real singer is better when they're the same person. And you see, I see this kind of stuff, though, as playful. I was being playful because after it's all over, I could laugh and say, "Oh, just kidding. See, I got you. But this cluster B, which this person and others have done, is their methods are evil. Their methods are cruel. Their methods are not involving loyalty. They're actually disloyal. So I'm glad I'm out of those things now, because I brought some fun and laughter into it all and then could laugh at the end. These people will like tell you a big giant lie, and they'll just keep that lie forever. And I've never been that way. I guess maybe I'm mentally ill, or maybe they are, but I think it's them, because I'll trick you. I'll lead you on something. I've had fun with that, like in the old days when I was a kid. before caller ID, I used to call friends of mine, and they'd answer the phone, hello, and I'd do a phony voice and like try to trick them, hi, and do some kind of fake stuff, and I would get a kick out of it, but I would always like take it so far, and then something inside, I guess the internal sort of set of brakes, would be like, this person's really buying this. You better stop. So finally I'd be like, just kidding, it's me. And I did that at my workplace once, which was funny because I worked in a call center and I had coworkers, and sometimes I would like call the number and get one of my coworkers across the room, and they'd answer, and I'd like pretend like, hi, ah, la, 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 and I'd say some kind of crazy stuff, and they'd be like, ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't understand that, and I'd keep going with it and keep going with it, and then finally I'd like hang it up, or I'd say, just kidding, it's me, click, because I like to do that, but just for a short period. Well, the funny stuff, or the funny backlash on that was, one of my coworkers I did that to once told me, well, I was just doing my normal thing at work, off the phone, doing whatever, and she came to my desk and said, I can't believe it. And I was like, what? And evidently what happened was she got a phone call from an actual customer that sounded just like the fake customer I used to do to her when I'd call her. And the customer was like, yeah, la 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 la. And she said, nice try, TJ. And the customer's like, what? Who's TJ? Just like I would have done if she said, I know who this is, but she didn't. And I guess it went back and forth, and she realized when she saw me sitting there without my headset on, just like, hey, talking to people, she realized it was a real customer. But anyway, those are the fun days. But anyway, hopefully you can laugh at this and realize if you're dealing with a cluster B, it's not the end of the world, because you can learn a lot from these blank faces. Just try to always keep in mind that they are fake. You're real, and that is a big advantage. They're fake, and they'll always be fake. So, revel in this revelation.
I realize I'm the prettiest one you've ever dated, but still, I couldn't help when we were out together to see those beautiful men saying hi to you. I just could not accept it. So I projected onto you. He's one of your ex-lovers, isn't he? Which, the truth was, he was actually one of mine. But you did not need to know that, because you are a sheep. I am the ruler of the universe. You are a piece of sheeple trash.